Hi, thank you for joining me today. I'm Sandra at artypapercrafters.com, and today my tutorial is this beautiful gift box, which is a nail care gift box. I'll show you inside in a moment. And you might remember that I recently showed you how to stamp your own designer paper. This was the original one that I had, and this was an A4 sheet at the time. You can see I've cut it down for the box, but it was an A4 sheet. I showed you how to stamp it in these colours, and I also had already made it in this colour. And today I'm going to show you how to make this gift box with some of your designer paper that you've created yourself. And over the next week or so I shall show you what else I'm going to make with this. So I'll put that to one side for now. And this is the box that I have created for today. You can see that I've put this little embellishment on the front and some ribbon with one of the Blooms and Bliss flowers that we stamped. This one here was created with that, and you can see all these that I made. I've put Have a Beautiful Birthday comes from the Birthday Blossoms stamp set. I like that sentiment, and I am going to give this box to my niece for her birthday, which is in December, and I also have another niece with a birthday in January, so the two boxes will go out to them. And this is what I have put inside for my nieces. I have put some nail varnish remover pads, a nail step buffer, and some little nail files, emery boards, and a little lipstick. And in the space here I'm going to put some little earrings when I've bought them. So let's crack on, and I'll show you how I created this box today. So to make this box you need 2 sheets of cardstock that both measure the same. I've already prepped one in advance to save time because they're both cut and they're both scored and cut more or less the same. So I've already prepared one, and I'm now going to show you how to prepare the other. So let's just pull the camera out so that you can see. So this piece of cardstock measures 11.5 by 8.25, so you need 2 pieces measuring the same. We're going to score it on the long side at 1 inch, 2.25 inches, 9.25 inches, and 10.5 inches. We're going to turn it to the short side, and we're going to score it at 1 inch, 2.25 inches, and 7 inches. And while I have the scoreboard out, I'm going to score my little inserts, for my nail bar to fit into. Measure 9 7/8 by 3 inches, and this piece measures 7 by 2 3/4 inches. So we're going to score the 9 7/8 piece first. We're scoring it on the long side at 1 1/4, 1 3/4, 2 1/4, 3 5/8, 4 1/8, 4 5/8, 7 3/8, 7 7/8, and 8 3/8. That's the scoring done for that piece. Then the smaller piece, which measures 7 by 2 3/4, we're going to score that on the short side at 1/2 inch and at 1 inch. And then we're going to put that back here on the long side, and we're going to cut a piece off of this. You'll see why soon. And we're going to put a mark at 4 7/8 down to the second score line because we need to cut that piece away. We don't need that, but we'll do that later. So that's our scoring done. So let's get the board away. And then we're going to fold and burnish our box. And this will be our lid. Right, so this piece with the two sides is going to be the front because this box is reinforced. It's not, I haven't done the two lots there because we're going to put those together and then that will create a reinforcement. So let's start cutting up. So we start off and we are going to cut straight up here, and then we don't need this edge here, but we're going to cut a wedge out of here, cut a wedge out of there. We don't need this piece here either. We need to wedge in here and do some little wedges here and here. Same here, we cut a wedge out, cut up here. Cut these two side pieces off, they're not needed. We don't need that either. And wedge in again. And another wedge here. A wedge here. And then cut up the back. And this part that forms the lid, we do not need this corner here. So you can cut that off, cut up here, and wedge in here, and cut up there. Keep those pieces. Just cut a little. So I think you don't wedge in the back, but you wedge in the sides. These pieces here, these here, and these here. So that's that. So let's get rid of the small pieces. We don't need those. So this is the top of the box, and so we are going to put some sticky strip along the back, so as close to this top edge here as you can get it along, and, oops, and a piece along the bottom. This will make sure that our box stays good and stuck. And then we need to turn it over, and we need some sticky strip along here. And along here. And a piece along here. amazing. So we're turning it back over to the top of our box, and I have already cut my pieces of designer paper that I hand stamped, and these pieces are going to go across here like this, here across there, and that across the front. Yeah. So that's those pieces. So we are now going to stick those on with some fast fuse for speed. So if you place them equal distance away from the edge, and I will put the sizes that I've cut these for on my blog, because otherwise there's just so many sizes that I have to give you. And I think I'm going to put this on with some Tombow. Whoops. So make sure that's lined up with the sides as best you can. I think that's good. And then this piece goes along the front. That's it. Put that away. And then we need to cut a circle. Let me just show you. We need like a finger pull in there. So we're just going to fold that over on itself, and we are going to line that up. This is my 1.5 inch punch. So place that in to, I would say, about here. Try and make sure that it's straight and about equal distance away from both sides, and punch. And it is a little bit tough to get through because you've got those two layers, but it's fine, it goes through, no problem. So now we are going to put our box together. Now, the way I found from doing my first box was to take the sticky strips off of these little back tabs first, and then line them up and stick those down like that. And then we now need to get the back piece of our box here into there. Like that. And that is a good tight fit. So now that I can see that that's a good tight fit, think what I'm going to do is just shave the merest hint off the back of that, just in case I have any problems with it. Right, so here goes. We're taking the back pieces off here. Fingers crossed that I can line it up before it sticks. So hold that up into the air. Pull that back on itself. Let's just pull those down. I'm just wondering if that would be easier if I stuck those down. Let's just see. Do you know what? It would. It would. So let's do that first before we get into a tangly mess. Pull those off and stick that down. Pull those off. Stick that down. Right. Oh, these things, they stick to you. Right then, now that we haven't got those in the way, we are now going to line that up to the straight edge, like that. And that then sits into there, like that. I'm just going to get my bone folder and make sure that that's nice and secure into the corners, and you can see that you haven't got your tabs showing there, which I had my tabs showing on my first one, and I thought, oh, I could have done that a little neater at the back there, so that when you open the box you don't see it. And the seam is seamless there, so you don't need to worry about adding anything else there. That seems pretty good to me. So now we can continue with putting the rest of our box together. So sticky bits off these tabs. These things, oh, it's like it's stuck to me. Right, so put that to the corner as you would a normal box, down to the corner, like that. And then we're going to take our sticky strip off this front piece. Hoping you can see what I'm doing. And fold that back down. And then, oh, I haven't put sticky strip on that, have I? Oh, that was a bit of an oversight. Where's my sticky strip gone? Let's put sticky strip on this. Oops. Right. This sticky strip is brilliant stuff, but I must admit these little bits do tend to cling to the body. So line that up as you would nicely, like that. And then that just leaves us to take our sticky strips off the other sides. Right, so secure that down at the front. There. And there. Huh. And that is our box made. And I think you'll agree that that's pretty nice. I'm really chuffed with that. So let's get on with our inserts. So on these we want mountain and valley folds. So the middle one is mountain and the outer ones are valley. Same with that. And this is the same, mountain and valley folds. Same again. Then we're cutting this piece here away, like I said we were. And then this is also mountain and valley fold, like that. We are now going to put some fast fuse down here to stick this together. Like that. Same on these, bit of fast fuse on here and stick that down. And the same on this one. Oh, I've just run out of fast fuse. I have to use my snail just to finish that off. So that's the insides of our box. So I'm going to put a bit of snail down here because we're going to stick this to the inside of our box. And the two pieces here go this end, like that. And these two pieces, it's two, I think I've cut that the opposite way. Not to worry, we'll stick that in and we'll just have to change, oh, I've stuck it. Right. Forget what I said about that. That's a good job that came out. We're going to put our goodies in the opposite way. So a bit of snail across there and stick those into the base of our box. And then I've got all my goodies here. So that's my little nail bar, and that's the room I've left for my little earrings that I'm going to get. Close that down. And then I have used this beautiful organza ribbon, Whisper White organza ribbon. I've used that here. Looks like I'm running out of that. That's a shame. So let's cut a piece off. I have to put another order in for some more of that because I like it. And then I've tied that into a knot So tie it quite tight as you can. Like that, and tidy up the ends. That's it. And now we need to stamp our sentiment. So I've got a piece of sweet sugar plum here, which I have put into my triple banner punch. And stamp that down. Get rid of those bits. And I'll get my stamp set, Have a Beautiful Birthday, and prep that on my block. And I've got my rich raspberry ink for this, and I'm just going to stamp it on a piece of scratch paper. Oh, what the heck have I put on there? I'm just going to stamp that onto a piece of scratch paper because I just want to make sure that that's straight on my block. Yeah, that's straight. Right then, bring that in. Oh, what's going on with that? That's rubbish. Absolute rubbish. Right, we're going to have to cut another piece. Let's get some Whisper White and cut another piece because that is no good. Sorry about that. What rubbish that was. What on earth was I doing there? Let's try that again. Put that in, line that up. I think I didn't have it lined up properly, did I? That's where I went wrong. Let's hope that this is better this time. Line that up. That's good. That's better. Right, let's try again. Into our ink. And stamp it down. That's better. Right, don't need that. Get that out of the way before I stick my fingers in it. Right, get our box. And we're going to put that onto our piece of sweet sugar plum with a bit of nail. And all the measurements for this will, like I said, be on my blog. And then I put 2 dimensionals on the base, part, because it's going to stick to our ribbon. And I've already prepped up, using the same stamp set, Blooms and Bliss, my 2 little flowers. And I've used my bone folder and pulled them up, both pieces. And then the bottom one, I just pulled the tip parts only back. And then I put them on my foam pad and got my pokey tool, and I positioned them together how I wanted them, and then I pushed that down, and you can see that I've now got some dimension going on with that. So glue dot in the centre. Glue dot on the centre of our flower there. Position that back down on there. And then for my centre, I got the Petite Petals punch, and I cut one of those out in Wisteria Wonder. Same thing again, press down and into the flower. Then I've got a little rhinestone in the centre. Pull that back up, stick a glue dot on it. Oops. Stick a glue dot on it and into the centre of our flower. Pretty, eh? Pretty, pretty. I love it. I love it. I love it. Right, let's move that out of the way. And I didn't want to hide my DSP, which is why I've put my sentiment and my little flower at the back of the ribbon, because I really didn't want to hide that beautiful paper that we've spent time stamping. So position that onto your ribbon like that with your dimensionals. It looks like I've caught that. And then we need a little dimensional on the back of our flower, like that. And I've positioned that in the centre like that. And on the front here, I've taken my same ribbon and I've cut or pulled up a small piece of this organza ribbon, really pretty. Pulled that into a knot and then cut that at an angle. Glue dot on the front of that. Maybe 2 glue dots, we want to make sure it sticks good and proper into the middle there. And then what have I done with them? Here they are. Then I've used my little metal rimmed pearls that I've got, and I've used the biggest one out of the set of them. You get 24 with 3 different sizes, so lovely for your projects. And I think that that goes very well with that white organza ribbon there. And that completes our project. So let's move all this mess out of the way, get our other box in, put the belly band back on that. And I think you'll agree that this really has made a beautiful box with this hand stamped DSP. There we are. That's it. Come along, you know you want to go on there. Right then, so that's box 1 made with the blue, and that's box 2 made with the purple. So I hope you like those today. If you're interested in purchasing any of these products, I'd be really grateful if you could purchase them through me. And if you want the project details, click in that little down arrow, see more description bar, and that will take you over to my project details where you'll see all the good things like the measurements. And until the next time when I show you what I'm going to make with the rest of my hand stamped DSP, it's bye for now. Bye.